In this video, we will be calling a method in Java. Here are the subgoals for calling a method. For the first subgoal, we classify the method as a static method or instance method. If it's static, we use the class name. If it's an instance, we must have or create an instance. For the second subgoal, we write the method call using the instance or class name, .method name, and open and close parentheses. For the third subgoal, we need to determine whether the parameters are appropriate. This has two parts: the number of parameters that need to be passed, and the data types of those parameters. For the fourth subgoal, we determine what the method will return, if anything, and where it will be stored. And finally, for the fifth subgoal, we need to evaluate the right-hand side expression. The value is going to be dependent on the method's purpose. What does the method do? For this example, we want to know, given the following code, how do you read in a double variable? The code that we have is scanner input is assigned the value new scanner system in. This statement says we have created a new object instance called input, and it holds a reference to a scanner object, which is by default the input stream, or the keyboard. This allows us to get input from the user via the keyboard. Subgoal 1 tells us to classify the method as a static method or an instance method. In this case, we have an instance method, and we have an instance called input. Now we write the method call using the instance, input, followed by a dot, followed by the method name, next double, and an open and close set of parentheses. You might not know if it is a static or instance method at this point. Most everything you do will generally be an instance method. You have to know the name of the method you want to call, or look it up within the API. For reading in a double variable, the name of the method is next double. Now we want to be able to call this. Here is the API for the next double method within the scanner class. Note, there are no parameters to this method, as we can see by the open and close parentheses. We can see that the method returns a double with the word double before the method name. We can also look under returns and see that it states it returns a double scanned from the input. Now we move on to subgoal 3. We just saw that no parameters are required. For subgoal 4, we need to determine what the method will return and where it will be stored. We saw that next double returns a double, so we need to say where we are going to store that value. Let's declare a variable called value of data type double to receive that value that is being returned from next double. So we have double value is assigned the output from input.nextDouble. And now subgoal 5 tells us to evaluate the right-hand side expression. Next double reads the next value from the input stream and attempts to convert it into a decimal value. It will take keyboard entered values and then return it. For example, if the user enters 123.56, it will return it and put it into the variable value. If the user enters something that is not a double, such as ABC, the system will throw an exception, like the mismatch exception, meaning that the input received did not match what the system was expecting.